Today on Studio One, the cost of heating a home could be much more expensive this winter. We'll tell you how some are turning to a unique heating source to combat rising prices. Also, old abandoned schoolhouses are often used for more modern purposes today. We'll show you a prairie school that is still hanging on to its Scandinavian roots. And a smile is always a welcome sight. We'll spend a day in the life of a man who has plenty to share with others.
From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Hello everyone and welcome to Studio One. I'm Monty Cashel.
And I'm Shannon Brower. Well, dog sleds are something that go back generations and generations.
Yeah, it was used by pioneers of the northern areas.
Absolutely, for carrying everything from food to doing just regular transportation. They were used in a lot of different ways. And later in the show, we're going to talk to a gal who uses dog sledding in a different fashion, a little bit more modern.
All right, look forward to that. Also on our show today, teachers play an important role in children's lives. We'll tell you why some are concerned that many good teachers may soon be leaving the profession.
Also, the work environment can be stressful enough, but add a coworker that pushes your buttons and things become much more difficult. One woman goes to work every day with hopes of resolving conflicts. We'll speak with her later in the show.
Before we get to all of that, here's today's news with Mariah Torney.
Thank you, Monty and Shannon. Louis Scooter Libby has pleaded not guilty to charges of perjury, obstruction of justice, and for making false statements in the CIA leak investigation. Libby made his first court appearance Thursday. Libby is accused of allowing the name of CIA operative Valerie Plame to slip out to reporters in 2003. However, he is not being charged with deliberately disclosing her name, which would result in a federal offense charge. On October 28th, Libby resigned as Vice President Dick Cheney's top advisor. Libby is the first White House official to be indicted in 130 years. The next court date is set for February 3rd. The Senate's Gang of 14 met Thursday to discuss the confirmation of Supreme Court nominee Samuel Alito. The gang is made up of 7 Democrats and 7 Republicans who are all centrist. 2 Republican members say that a Democratic filibuster is unlikely. Other senators in the group say it is too early to tell and they want to learn more about Alito's views. One of the most popular vacation spots, Cancun, Mexico, was heavily damaged recently by Hurricane Wilma. This has left many vacationers wondering what their options are. The hurricane has forced many to make last-minute changes to their travel plans. Some have chosen to change destinations rather than cancel. Travel agencies have been working to ensure their clients still get a vacation. There are some, however, who continue to have their sights set on Cancun.
And we do still have people calling in that say they really want us to go to Cancun, and what's the update on it, like in January, February.
Mexican President Vicente Fox predicts that Cancun's resorts will be up and running in 2 months. However, some hotel officials say Cancun's vacation spots may not make a full recovery until Easter weekend. Police often use trained dogs to sniff out drugs, but soon they could have another helper. The University of Georgia is training wasps to detect drugs, explosives, and even buried bodies. The wasp hound keeps the insects in a cup-sized cartridge that contains a camera to track the movements of wasps. When the insects detect the target odor, an alarm goes off. Researchers say wasps are cheaper and quicker to train than a dog. They say the device could be ready for commercial use within 5 to 10 years. Some people are putting their furnaces on the back burner this winter, but even though they are shutting their heat off thanks to a unique fuel source, they are not going to be cold. As natural gas prices continue to rise, some are choosing to use alternative energy sources to keep warm this winter. Shelley and Stephen Mack bought a corn-burning stove in 2004 and are more than satisfied with their purchase.
I don't have to worry about the gas being shut off or turned off or some energy problem with the storm.
Well, it heats our entire house. The floors are so nice and warm. And when the grandchildren come over, never have to worry about their cold little feet.
But the Macks say the biggest advantage is the money they save each month. They say corn for the entire winter will cost them about $260. Corn-burning stoves are becoming a hot item, and distributors are finding they are unable to keep up with demand.
I sold 12 last year, and I've sold 12 in the last month and a half.
North Hagen has a waiting list of over 30 people. He says the stoves are better for the environment, but that most people are concerned about the financial savings.
It costs about a fourth of the price for what you're going to pay for fuel oil, so you're going to save 75% on your heat bill.
The corn costs about $1.60 a bushel, and the Macks say they use 1 to 2 bushels a day. They clean their stove daily, and the small amount of ash can be thrown out safely. Friends and neighbors have many questions about the Max heating source.
Yeah, well, it's kind of fun when you tell people you're burning corn. They look at you going, well, how do you fit the cobs in there? Does it pop? Do you have popcorn when you're done?
These stoves may not make popcorn, but they are making their owners happy by keeping them warm and saving them money. Corn burning stoves cost between $1,800 and $2,200. The company that North Hagen orders his products from produced 5 times as many stoves this year as last year. They are currently sold out. And that's the news for now. Monty and Shannon?
Thanks, Mariah. Well, certainly this time of year, people are starting to gear up for the winter season, trying to find ways to keep warm.
Absolutely. There's a chilly breeze out there today in this area at least, but I think we should go over to Matt Benz and find out what we can expect to see in the weather.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing that chilly breeze outside, and over the next couple of weeks, because we are in November, we're expecting to see that things start to cool down across much of our area. That's with the temperature, and we can expect our first snowfall very soon across the northern parts of the United States. Well, let's take a look at our averages across the country. Most of the south, you can expect your average highs in the 70s, while 50 seems to be the popular number towards the north, with 59 out in New York City. And if you travel all the way across to the west coast, 54 in Seattle. Well, take a look at our average temperature, low temperatures across much of our viewing area. Notice how everybody's below freezing this time of year, and this is very important because we're starting to get into the season where it is starting to snow, and the snow is going to start to stick because it's staying cooler at night. So when you have these cooler temperatures overnight, you're going to be able to see that snowfall stick around a little bit longer, and eventually we're going to see it stick around all the time as we head towards winter. I have a unique situation I want to tell you guys about. We actually have Chinook winds, and Chinook means snow eater in Indian, and it's actually a warm, dry wind that comes off the downwind side of mountains and hills. And actually out in Rapid City, it's a very common situation that arrives, and that's when the wind comes across the tops of the Black Hills here, and it begins to heat up as it comes down, and there's an elevational difference between both these cities. Between Rapid City and the Black Hills, we have a difference of over 4,000 feet, and what begins to happen is this wind comes down and pushes out the cold air that's located around Rapid City, and you'll see a difference during the winter time when these winds come up, as much as 20 to 40 degree differences between what they had early on and then once the wind comes up. And what begins to happen is cold air aloft, and because as you head up through the atmosphere it's less dense, as this cold air comes down, it begins to compress, much like as you put air into your tire, and it actually begins to heat up because those air molecules begin to interact with one another, and it begins to heat up, and it pushes all this cold air out of Rapid City, and it warms them up very nicely. It's a very nice thing during the winter time, and actually the all-time record change in temperature during a short period of time was in Spearfish, which is just a short drive away from Rapid City. And this was actually back in the 1940s. They saw a difference of 49 degrees in a matter of 2 minutes. It warmed up from -4 all the way up to 45 degrees in a matter of 2 minutes. And then just after that wind stopped, the Chinook wind stopped, it cooled down from 54 all the way back down to -4. So as soon as those winds stop, the cold air rushes back in, and unfortunately they cool off. Well, here we're going to quiz you about Chinook winds. Which city experiences a Chinook wind? And we'll actually, coming up later in the show, we'll have a story about how you can protect your garden and flowers from frost.
Thanks, Matt. Well, it's a pretty interesting phenomena with the weather. Now we just need some mountains in this area to get that warm wind to flow through.
I can't imagine a 40-degree change in the temperature in 2 minutes.
Absolutely.
Wow. That's like jacket weather to shorts. It's pretty quick. NBA has started up again, and Nathan Shane with sports has highlights for us.
Thank you, Monty and Shannon. With Shaq soaking up the sun from the East Coast and Phil Jackson taking a year off last season, Kobe Bryant was left to lead the Los Angeles Lakers alone. Even while Bryant posted all-star numbers, the Lakers missed the playoffs for the first time in 10 years. And the Lakers opened up the season against the Denver Nuggets. Starting in the fourth, Bryant looks to be the hero. Pumps, takes the shot, but it would rim out. We'd be going into overtime in OT. Lakers up by 4, and Kobe loses the ball. Marcus Camby scoops it up on the breakaway, but the great hustle by Bryant blocks the shot. Andre Miller there to clean it up, and we'd be going with the score tied at 97, less than 10 seconds left. Kobe Bryant looking again to win the game, shoots it, nails it. Lakers win 99-97. On to the Eastern Conference, the Charlotte Bobcats take on the Chicago Bulls. Raymond Felton gets the pass, cuts in, and gets the layup. Bobcats go up 21, but Chicago would outscore the Bobcats 30-9 in the fourth. With this, Darius Sangala scores to put it into overtime, where Tyson Chandler gets the power layup and the foul. The Bulls win 109-105. Size plays a major role in football. Many players do what it takes to be as big as they can. A recent survey found that there is a trend of high school football players becoming even bigger each year. These players hope this extra bulk will help them get to the college level. This brings up some health concerns, especially among offensive and defensive linemen. Many of these players are reaching weights of nearly 300 pounds or more. College teams like the University of North Dakota like to bring in the big linemen to create a more physical style of play. But it can be a challenge to get them to fit.
A lot of times they're just big. They're not in great shape. Get a wide range, generally not in great shape. And that's our job. That's why we're here, to get them in that shape.
Another concern is how these players will maintain good health when their football players come to an end. It's now time for the Studio One Sports Trivia question, and today's question is, who was the first player in history to average a triple-double in a single season? And a triple-double is when you average double digits in more than 3 of the major offensive and defensive categories, and we'll have the answer to that, plus more sports later on in the show. Monty and Shannon.
Thanks, Nathan. A new movie called Jarhead looks at the life of Marines during the Gulf War. We'll preview that film later in the show.
Also, everyone faces conflicts at some point in their life. More and more businesses are turning to conflict mediation to solve problems. One woman is an expert at resolving disputes in and out of the work environment. We'll talk to her next.
Need to plan an entire conference? Want to provide your employees with professional training and development? The Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota provides quality programs and services for career enhancement. Whether you want to attend educator workshops or need a certificate for your profession, the Division of Continuing Education can help you achieve success. Contact the Division of Continuing Education today and let us meet your professional needs.
George Bull and his partners found value in farina, the whitest part of wheat, and created cream of wheat. Patrick Haggerty founded Texas Instruments and helped it become one of the nation's high-tech giants. Raymond Rood is responsible for the modern diving board. His diving boards have been used in every Olympic competition since 1960. Chris Moen and Marlene Schott launched their food company through the UND Entrepreneurship Program. Will yours be next?
The University of North Dakota Alumni Association and Foundation, together with thousands of alumni and friends, are making a difference at UND. Thanks to generous private support, many students have experienced the rich history, tradition, and spirit of the University of North Dakota. UND alumni and friends understand the importance of education and are proud to be part of UND's growth and success. Learn how your gift to the UND Foundation can benefit you and your university. You can make a difference.
Advance your career with a graduate business degree from the University of North Dakota. The graduate school at UND offers a variety of master's degrees that can help you stand out in the competitive business world. Our programs accommodate full-time students as well as working professionals. Our state-of-the-art facilities, dedicated faculty, and entrepreneurial training position graduates for careers as business leaders. Make your move towards a business leadership position. Contact the UND Graduate School today.
Tradition runs deep among American Indian people. One of those traditions is helping others. At the University of North Dakota, American Indian Student Services is dedicated to helping students succeed. Our support services include tutoring and financial aid assistance. We have more American Indian programs than any other university in the U.S., making UND a leader in Indian education. Be a part of our tradition. Call 1-800-CALL-UND.
You're watching Studio One from the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks.
Disagreements are a part of life. People argue with coworkers, friends, and family. Disputes can stem from rivalry or simple personality differences. Some people turn to conflict management to mend broken fences. Kristine Paramica is here to talk about her role in the conflict mediation process. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
Well, you actually work at the University of North Dakota at a center that is specially designed to help with conflict. Mm-hmm. Why is there such a need for this type of a center?
I think that regardless if it's at home at the University of North Dakota or in the community or abroad, there's a great need for conflict resolution. We can tell that from the kind of the kind of activity we're involved in on global issues like in Iraq right now, as well as just generally conflict is normally a part of life, and unfortunately we don't always handle it well, and it can be, rather than a sort of a challenging, productive force, sometimes it feels destructive, and relationships often fall apart because of it.
And you're the director of the center. How did you ever get involved with this?
Somewhat by accident. I'm a lawyer by trade, and came across this in a lot of the work that I did, and was fortunate to be in a place at the district court here in town, actually, where a pilot mediation program was beginning to form, and I had the privilege of kind of creating and running that program, and then getting involved with the center here.
Is there one thing that is the heart of most conflicts?
Gosh, I would say at the heart of most conflict has been primarily miscommunication that includes a lot of misinterpretation, assumptions. We have a tendency to attribute negative intentions when that often isn't the case. And it's amazing what happens when people can sit down at the table with a skilled facilitator or mediator of that conversation. I don't think that we always trust each other to be able to come together at the same table after we've experienced conflict, and we see some amazing results.
Well, and you talked a little bit about this process where people sit down and then you have someone like yourself, a mediator, to help them through this process. It must be sometimes, I mean, people coming in angry, yelling at each other. How do you deal with that kind of a situation? Does it happen often?
Yeah, it happens often. I think that emotion is a key part of conflict. Emotion in our language helps us to know what's important most. If I'm raising my voice or I'm showing some emotion, it would be a signal to you that it's important to me. And I think that our mediators are very skilled in facilitating the emotional content of the dialogue. We call it conflict talk, or following the heat of the conversation. We think that more damage is done by telling people that that's not appropriate, and rather supporting that conversation in a way that feels safe and supportive to the parties themselves, and helps them to kind of emerge from that.
What kind of situation would be a good example where mediation would be a good idea?
There are a lot of good places for mediation, and you tend to think of those conflicts that involve relationships. So any kind of family dispute, whether it's divorce and child custody, or dealing with elder care issues, family farms that are beginning to dissolve, family businesses, but it certainly extends well beyond that into the community, landlord-tenant issues, any sort of neighborhood disputes.
Do larger companies get involved with mediation type processes?
They do. They often have internal programs for conflict resolution. It's not uncommon at all to have formal and informal dispute resolution processes within large companies, and a lot of small and large companies go outside for mediation and come to centers like us for mediation in the community.
Do you see where this mediation process maybe is going in places where it hadn't before historically?
I think that I'm not sure if. I think historically, traditionally, we used informal means of dispute resolution all the time. I think we've come away from that, and maybe we're returning to using mediators in that way. We've come to a place from the 70s till now where mediation has been formalized somewhat by the legal system. And traditionally it's meant to be informal, where people come to the table and the mediator helps facilitate their dialogue rather than taking control, separating them, and negotiating something that's formal. So I think that there's a return to the sort of traditional ways of resolving disputes that we've moved from.
Okay, so we're kind of coming back full circle again.
I like to think so.
Well, if someone is watching and they're going, you know what, I'm part of a group that I think needs some mediation help, where would they turn?
Well, there are a lot of places to turn to. In a lot of communities, there are conflict resolution or mediation centers like ours that serve the community. If there isn't one of those, there may be mediators in the yellow pages. Sometimes the legal system provides mediation. Transformative mediation that we practice is available in places like the Twin Cities. I know a group that is working on helping people have constructive dialogue there.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for the information. I'm sure there's many people out there who probably need some help, and I'm sure people like you can help out. So thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Coming up, dogs play many different roles. They can do tricks, sniff out drugs, and simply be a part of the family. We'll meet a woman who uses a team of dogs to reach a goal. Also, many people make a difference in the world, like police officers, teachers, and doctors. One man makes a difference just by bagging groceries. We'll tell you that story next on Studio One.
Earn a degree in engineering while you continue to work. The University of North Dakota's Distance Engineering degree program offers the only ABET accredited undergraduate degree program at a distance. Instructors and classes are delivered to you through online lectures and condensed on-campus laboratories.
It's convenient, it's flexible, and it's a quality education.
UND Continuing Education and the School of Engineering and Mines, teaming up to bring quality education to your door.
Wall Street has come to the prairie through the A. Kirk Lanterman Investment Center at the University of North Dakota. This state-of-the-art facility in the College of Business and Public Administration provides hands-on experience in the world of modern finance. Students learn how financial markets react with lightning quickness to world events. They use cutting-edge technology and real-time data from more than 200 financial markets around the world. The Lanterman Investment Center provides the tools to make a career out of an education.
There are many things to be found at the University of North Dakota School of Law. You will find a place with small class settings, an affordable place that offers student interaction with both the state and federal court systems. You will find a school that has averaged over 90% placement for its graduates the past 5 years. But most importantly, you will find the skills and experience you'll need throughout your legal career. Find your future at the University of North Dakota School of Law.
Explore the educational opportunities available through the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota. With just one phone call or a click of the mouse, you'll find high-quality programs designed for today's adults. We have a large selection of continuing education courses that are available at a time and place that's convenient for you. Discover a world of learning through the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota.
The topic of war has served as a backdrop for Hollywood movies for decades. The new war movie Jarhead attempts to show a different side to the lifestyle of a Marine. The movie looks at the everyday life of a Marine during the Gulf War. The story takes people from boot camp to battle. Jake Gyllenhaal plays a Marine in a sniper platoon. He says the filming of the movie has changed his thoughts about war.
These are all like young guys. Like we're young guys experiencing this as, actors, and they're young guys out there doing some of the most extraordinary things, scariest things I could even think of.
It was a challenge recreating the scenes from the military action during the Gulf War. Most of the film was shot in the desert and on different Air Force bases in California. Jarhead opens in theaters on November 4th. Now it's time to look at the events happening in your area. In the workplace, there are regulations on what tasks and rules employees must follow. Today, we'll spend a day with a worker who goes beyond his job description requirements.
Waiting in line at the grocery store can sometimes be long. Then after waiting comes money out of the pocket. These are not always things that make everyone's day. However, at this store, moving ahead in line is often something to look forward to.
Paper or plastic?
Kermit Brixton, or Kurt as many people know him, is not an ordinary grocery store bagger. He is also known to many as the Candyman and Joker.
It was never a morning when I got up that I felt like, oh shucks, I got to go to work today. No, look forward to going, enjoyed my job, being with people. That makes a difference.
Kermit is 83 years old. He worked 2 weeks short of 40 years at a farmer's elevator in the small Minnesota farming community. He retired as an elevator man before becoming a bagger for the past 10 years.
I'm doing it because I want to, not because I have to.
Kurt probably knows everybody that shops in here, or at least it seems that way. He's especially good with the children. They seem to love him.
Hey, sunshine, how about a Tootsie Roll?
He gives much more than pockets of candy. Kermit always offers many good laughs, warm hugs, and pearly white grins.
He's always got a cute hat on, and he always has a new joke every day. I'm happy all the time, but he makes me happier.
All in good fun, Kermit's jokes are a special gift for anyone and everyone.
If it was any better than that, you wouldn't know how to act with it.
Kermit gives us a good lesson. No matter how old you are, there's always something to smile about. I am Jenna Lund reporting for Studio One.
Kermit has been writing a story about his life. He hopes his book called Life of Hard Knocks will be out before Christmas. Coming up, food is an important part of any culture. We'll take you to an old one-room schoolhouse that has turned into a place where Scandinavian tradition thrives. That story plus news, sports, and weather in the next half hour of Studio One.
The School of Engineering and Mines at UND has a long history of preparing students for successful careers. Through small classes and faculty involvement, students have unique opportunities to gain hands-on experience. Here, students launch a weather balloon to test a remote imaging device destined for Earth orbit. Students can also become involved in wind energy and fuel cell projects, design, build, and race a Formula One car, or even develop a camera that will generate agricultural images from the International Space Station. Find out for yourself how you can get involved at UND School of Engineering and Mines.
Do you need a flexible way to earn your degree? The University of North Dakota's Degrees After Hours program is designed to work around your full-time schedule. Whether you've got a family, a full-time job, or both, the Degrees After Hours program offers you flexible alternatives. You can earn a degree or take courses online through video conferencing and in the evenings or on weekends. UND's Degrees After Hours program fits your needs, your schedule, and your goals. Contact UND today.
This can happen.
Excuse me, can I get a ride?
What?
My car broke down. Can I get a ride?
No, I can't help you.
Look, it's just a ride.
No, step back.
Get in the car!
No!
Women can defend themselves. To learn more about Impact U or to enroll in a class, call the UND Women's Center.
From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Welcome back to Studio One.
Thanks for joining us today. Well, most people are wired in some way.
That's true. It's everywhere you go, whether it's a cell phone or PDA.
They have little Blackberries now. They can text message to everyone. We wanted to find out if people thought we were too wired in today's world. That's coming up in the next 30 minutes on Studio One. Also on our show, U.S. schools will soon see the largest turnover of teachers in more than a decade. We'll tell you why so many teachers are leaving the profession.
Also, many people crave the foods that remind them of their childhood. We'll tell you how a place that used to teach children is now used to spread a traditional food to the masses.
And a dog's life often consists of eating, sleeping, and playing. Later we'll meet one dog that carries the responsibility of being a team player. But first, here's today's news with Mariah Torning.
Thank you, Monty and Shannon. UN Secretary General Kofi Annan told the international community Thursday that prompt action must be taken to plan for the spread of the bird flu. Annan says the possibility of the flu infecting large numbers of people cannot be ignored. The UN's Social and Economic Council met Thursday to discuss the threat posed by the bird flu. Health experts say that if the flu mutates, the results could be catastrophic. Annan says the world's nations must be ready.
Once human-to-human transmission has been established, we would have only a matter of weeks to lock down the spread before it spins out of control.
A jury declared the makers of Vioxx not guilty of consumer fraud on Thursday. The jury stated that Merck & Company had adequately warned doctors and users about the possible dangers of the painkiller. The drug was pulled from the market in September 2004 after it was found to increase the risk of heart attacks and strokes in long-term patients. Merck faces about 6,400 lawsuits over Vioxx. The war in Iraq has caused many people to say goodbye to friends and family in the military. Many police departments are also dealing with the loss. A study of 164 counties in the U.S. found that 76% of police and sheriff departments have seen as many as 5 deployments per department. The officers are guaranteed their positions when they return. Some police departments, like the one in Grand Forks, North Dakota, are putting the responsibilities of their deployed officers upon the remaining force.
The problem with deployment through the National Guard, where our officers are enlisted with, is that we can't replace people.
The counties reporting the highest impact of the loss are those with a population of 10,000 or less. The Food and Drug Administration has approved the first transplant of fetal stem cells into a human brain. Stanford University Medical Center will begin transplanting brain stem cells into children afflicted with Batten disease. Batten disease causes children to become blind, speechless, and paralyzed before it kills them. The idea is to inject immature neural stem cells into the children. Scientists hope these tests could lead to a treatment for a variety of disorders. Some say this will cause an ethical battle since many of the cells are from aborted fetuses. Teachers will soon be leaving the school system at an alarming rate. Recent studies show the U.S. education system will see its highest turnover rate since 1990.
Glenn Trembath has been a social science teacher for more than 33 years. At the end of this year, he plans on retiring. Trembath thinks new teachers coming into the field will be beneficial to students.
There comes a time when a person's older, he probably should get out and let somebody younger work with the kids. They probably have a little more energy, they have a little more enthusiasm.
But many more teachers are also leaving for other reasons. A survey conducted by the National Center for Education Information found that 40% of current public school teachers do not expect to be teaching 5 years from now. The survey discovered retirement, low salaries, and poor administrative support are some of the many reasons teachers are leaving the school system. Other research has found teaching education programs may produce enough graduates, but some do not enter or stay in the field of teaching. The rapid turnover rate has many wondering how the shortage of teachers will affect schools.
The more students there are in a class, the harder it is to address the individual needs of the student. So I think ultimately it's the student who loses.
Brad Larson, who is student teaching this fall, is coming into the profession at the perfect time.
The reason for teaching is to help kids, and you're losing on a lot of experience there, and so that it's a plus for someone in my situation, but it's a negative for who it really counts for is for the kids.
While future teachers like Larson feel fortunate they'll have the opportunity to teach, they wonder how the large turnover will affect education. This is Ann Clark reporting for Studio One News.
To combat the high turnover, school districts are expanding their recruiting of teachers. Besides college campuses, they're targeting people already in other career fields. And that's the news for now. Monty and Shannon?
Thanks a lot, Mariah. Well, I know every time we seem to go over to Matt in weather, I learn something.
Absolutely.
He teaches me every time.
There's always something, and I heard him mention the word garden earlier.
Yeah.
Don't know exactly where that's going, but let's go over to Matt Benson and find out what we can find out about the gardens.
Well, Monty and Shannon, you'll just have to wait just a little bit before we give you those facts about gardening. First off, I want to show you who's going to be warm or cold over the next couple of days and next couple of weeks. It looks like the southeastern part of the United States is going to be warm, and this is because the jet stream is coming in from the southwest to the northeast, and everybody south of there is going to be pretty warm. And likewise, unfortunately, where it's been warm, it's also going to see dry temperatures as well. And again, that jet stream is going to be coming across here, and when south of there is going to be dry, along with some sporadic wet areas off to the north. Well, people put a lot of time and effort into their gardens in the spring and summer. As winter approaches, nights get longer and temperatures begin to drop. A danger begins to form that may threaten all your hard summer's work. Clear, cold nights in the fall can create a disaster in your vegetable garden and wreak havoc with your flowers. When winds are light and the sky is clear, the temperature plummets at night. These conditions are ripe to create a familiar sight on your windshield and lawn. Frost can sneak up on gardeners and cause problems.
We'll freeze off the leaves, and oftentimes they'll turn black and fall off. It starts the process of slowing the sap down, and the trees will lose their leaves for winter.
Frost dehydrates leaves and starves plants of water. It is a good idea to water generously before an expected frost so that plants can fight off cold temperatures.
Your best bet against that, if you wanted something that you want to keep for a long time, is to cover it. Just cover it with a blanket or a box or something like that. Do not use plastic because that tends to burn the plant when it gets real cold, so you want to use some kind of cloth or paper.
Eventually, colder temperatures arrive and overcome all plants. Even trees feel the effects of freezing conditions as they lose their leaves. But protecting your plants from frost in the fall should help prolong the life and color of your garden. Not all your plants need to be protected when your first fall freeze comes. But your apples should be left on your trees after the first few frosts. This actually helps the apples to sweeten up. And after you pick them, it actually helps them to keep a little bit longer. Well, here's a recap of your weather IQ question. Which city experiences a Chinook wind? And your answer is Boulder, Colorado. And actually, out in Boulder, they have some pretty strong Chinook winds. Back in 1982, they had winds in excess of 147 miles an hour. And 10 years before that, they had $25 million worth of damage because of Chinook winds.
Wow.
Thanks a lot, Matt. Well, even when the weather starts to calm down a little bit, there's still stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, we've been hearing about hurricanes for the past while, and they get hurricane winds in the middle of the continent. Crazy. Well, let's go now to sports again, and Nathan Shane has more info for us.
Thank you, Monty and Shannon. The bond between mothers and their sons is often very strong. One way the relationship can grow is through the world of sports. Mothers and sons can often have different tastes. Many moms have a hard time understanding the male-dominated sport of football. But one event held in Grand Forks, North Dakota, has used this sport to bring mothers and sons together.
The kids are learning a little bit, the moms are learning a little bit, and it's basically we want them to spend time together.
Get in the Game is an event that lets mothers and their young sons spend time together while learning more about football. Julie Helling and her son Seth came to the event for just that reason.
He likes football, so we want to go to a game and just hang out together.
Yeah, I like a tackle.
For Seth, it was a chance to be around a game that he is learning to love. And for Julie, it gave her the chance to learn about the game so she could share that excitement with her son.
I guess I watch and hear the penalties and stuff and don't really, have to wait for my husband to tell me what that meant.
The event offered those in attendance the chance to learn from those in the sport and enjoy the game firsthand.
Hey, no, it's sticky down there.
For Julie and Seth, tackling, throwing, and catching were secondary to the main reason of the event. For them, the chance to spend time together was worth more than all the points put up on the scoreboard combined. The event was a big success with over 200 mothers and sons in attendance. Promoters of the event say they would like to have other sports spotlighted in the years to come. And now the answer to this week's Studio One Sports Trivia question. The question again is, who was the first player in history to average a triple-double in a single season? The answer to that question is D. Oscar Robertson. Robinson, in only his second year, averaged over 30 points, 12 rebounds, and 11 assists. And that's the sports. Monty and Shannon?
Thanks, Nathan. It's hard to imagine sporting events without the classic concessions. The aroma of popcorn and hot dogs are often associated with sports. We'll look at one woman who's bringing a different treat to the games.
Also, most one-room schoolhouses have closed their doors. We'll show you one of these buildings that has been transformed into a place where people can learn about a traditional food.
When you graduate from college, what will you be able to offer an employer?
Well, I'm a really good people person.
I really love working with people.
I'm very, very motivated.
I'm a great people person.
I am really motivated.
Offer an employer something more. At the University of North Dakota Career Services Center, we can help you get the competitive edge you need. Stop in or check us out, UND Career Services, empowering students to realize their dreams.
Did I mention I'm great with people?
The University of North Dakota College of Business and Public Administration offers real degrees for real people. Our nationally recognized faculty can help you earn a master's degree in business through evening classes.
Taking these evening classes were very convenient for me, and that's how I was able to complete the program.
We offer degrees for people who work, raise families, and lead busy lives. The UND College of Business and Public Administration. Real degrees for real people.
The School of Engineering and Mines at UND offers students exceptional learning opportunities. Undergraduates are helping faculty design and build unmanned aerial vehicles to test remote imaging devices. They're also converting wind energy into hydrogen. Geological science students are contributing to environmental research. Extracurricular activities include designing, building, and racing a fuel cell car. Make the most of your college experience at UND's School of Engineering and Mines.
Let the University of North Dakota become your partner by providing your business with services to enhance your workforce. The UND Office of Workforce Development has extensive experience conducting employee satisfaction research, strategic planning, focus groups, and grant development. Call us for further information. Workforce Development, a service of the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota.
You're watching Studio One, twice named the best college television show in the nation by the National Association of College Broadcasters.
Hot dogs and popcorn are common smells found at sporting events. One woman is hoping a new fragrance will become familiar at events across the nation.
Here at this hockey arena, Sandra Holmstrom is known for the smell that sweeps across the building. The aroma of freshly roasted Bavarian almonds is common during games.
So we get you first with the smell, and then we usually offer, we try to offer most people a sample as they walk by.
Sandra and her husband tasted their first Bavarian almond in Nebraska. It was something that they had never tasted back home in northern Minnesota. She says she took on the challenge of perfecting the taste of the nuts as a hobby once her youngest daughter left for college.
It was kind of a bumpy road for a while, but eventually the product gained in popularity. We had to give away a lot of samples, and we still do, because people were not familiar with them.
It was soon after they created their own company called Far Out Nuts. Sandra says when people travel, they sometimes get a chance to taste roasted almonds in other parts of the country.
And they'll say, yours smell just like theirs, and I'll say, yes, and mine probably taste even better.
The process of making these almonds is pretty simple. They start with fresh almonds and add them to a syrup made of water, sugar, and cinnamon. Then they let the machine do the work as it mixes the ingredients together, adding more sugar along the way. But this is not all that make these almonds great.
Or maybe it's those little gnomes on my booth that are just, adding a little something extra to it.
With an idea from Nebraska and a lot of samples later, these little almonds are becoming a big hit in the area. With photographer James Haley, I'm Lance Vogel reporting for Studio One.
Sandra has recently started roasting other products such as sunflower seeds and peanuts. She hopes they will also catch on and become popular. The use of wireless technology has risen quickly, especially in the last 10 years. People have wireless devices that allow access to emails, text messaging, and cell phone conversations. Many have access at any time of the day and almost everywhere. There are mixed opinions about the effects and potential security risks of wireless technology. We wanted your thoughts on the issue.
Some of it's secure and some of it is not, and I'm going to wait till something more secure comes along before I participate in it.
My husband knows a lot about computers, so he takes care of that end of it.
I think it's great because you don't have to have the landline, and my daughters get a hold of me more often than if I was on the landline because I'm on the go.
I don't really care as long as I got my internet.
I think we're so connected to all these different devices that in a sense, we're almost losing touch with each other just because we're connected to electronics.
Small communities are ripe with tradition. One building in Minnesota helps keep several beloved memories alive.
Ron Edevold is a businessman. At this factory, he makes a specialized product that he's loved since childhood.
One morning while I was staying at my grandmother's place, and I could smell this something being made.
Though Edevold's factory boasts fewer than a dozen dedicated employees, they keep things running smoothly.
they load up these hoppers because they know that flower is just about done. They load this up because they have to leave here, and the cardinal sin is to let this hopper run out of.
Ron is the second generation to run this family business. His parents created this factory after his stepdad was inspired on a trip to Mexico.
He found a tortilla factory, and he went in there and watched these guys making tortilla, and one thing led to another, and he thought, I can make a machine, adapt one of these machines to Lefse.
By that fall, 45 years ago, Edevold's parents had the machinery in place to produce Lefse, a traditional Scandinavian flatbread. Though the building itself is discreet, signs outside welcome drive-by customers. The signs are so inviting that it's hard to sit down with Ron for more than a few minutes.
Oh, you want to buy some Lefse? Yeah. Well, back your truck up, we'll load you up.
Oh my goodness. Ron always looks forward to this kind of friendly interruption.
You just go in here. You've been here before?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you know where to go. Okay.
Richard Vinci has worked here for years. In fact, he's been here so long that he's learned much more than just the ABCs of Lefse making in this building.
I graduated 8th grade here in 1948, and that's when they closed the school.
Richard attended school in this very building, which was built in 1918 to educate the children of the neighboring town of Windsor.
The town was here because the railroad was coming through here. However, the railroad changed their mind, moved the route 3 miles south.
The town of Windsor faded after the railroad left. While little evidence of the town remains, the legacy of the school is etched into the walls themselves. A younger Richard Vinci made sure his mark on the school would not easily fade.
Right there. RV? Oh, I got that one in pretty deep. You know, I move around a lot, but I keep coming back. It's home.
Surrounded by rich legacies and good friends, Ron and the rest of his co-workers also gladly call this building home. With photographer Patrick Wynn, I'm Amanda Nelson reporting for Studio One.
The Edevold sell Lefse independently and to some larger companies. These companies sell the product under the name Laura's Lefse, after Ron Edevold's mother. Coming up, professional athletes train for several hours numerous times a week. We'll learn how a four-legged athlete and her coach train for a unique sport.
The College of Business and Public Administration at the University of North Dakota is proud to announce the Page Family Marketing Center. A gift from alumni Greg and Cindy Page, this center promises real-world experiences as students begin careers in marketing. The center includes a specially designed conference room for focus group research. An adjacent lab offers real-time access to software and data for marketing decisions. The Page Family Marketing Center, your next step in marketing.
Tradition runs deep among American Indian people. One of those traditions is helping others. At the University of North Dakota, American Indian Student Services is dedicated to helping students succeed. Our support services include tutoring and financial aid assistance. We have more American Indian programs than any other university in the U.S., making UND a leader in Indian education. Be a part of our tradition. Call 1-800-CALL-UND.
Earn a degree in engineering while you continue to work. The University of North Dakota's Distance Engineering Degree Program offers the only ABET accredited undergraduate degree program at a distance. Instructors and classes are delivered to you through online lectures and condensed on-campus laboratories.
It's convenient, it's flexible, and it's a quality education.
UND Continuing Education and the School of Engineering and Mines, teaming up to bring quality education to your door. No matter what your schedule, no matter when you work, no matter what job you have now, this is your opportunity to accomplish your goals. Degrees After Hours at the University of North Dakota can work around your busy schedule. Bachelor and master's degrees are earned through convenient, flexible, and high-quality classes. Complete degrees are available online through correspondence study and on weekends and evenings. Earn a degree on your terms with Degrees After Hours at the University of North Dakota.
Before becoming a formal sport, dog sleds were used in the polar regions as a means of surviving the harsh climate. Today, the sport of dog sledding has led to several equipment advances and brought the activity further south of the poles. Dog mesher Nancy Yoshida is here to show us what goes into dog sledding. Thanks for being on the show today, Nancy.
Thank you for asking me.
No problem. Well, we have a friend here. Who is our friend that we have today?
This is Q, one of my lead dogs, and she's very happy to be here too.
Well, we're glad to have her here. Now, you mentioned she's a lead dog. How do you choose a lead dog versus the other dogs?
I don't choose them. They tell me that they're going to be a lead dog. Lead dogs are all voice-driven. We get from one place to another by their ability to take commands. And so when we see a younger dog responding to a command I've given an already trained lead dog, you know that's a dog that's listening and they can lead.
So you have other dogs as well that are on the team now. And you have the lead dogs. What other types of roles are there?
We have lead dogs. We have point dogs, those dogs right behind the lead. Those are usually lead dogs and they rotate in and out of the lead position. We have team dogs just running, carrying the weight, and then we have the tough workers, the wheel dogs, that are right in front of the sled.
Okay.
They're doing the hard job of pulling. So
doing the heavy lifting.
Yes.
Now with the sled, and we have a sled here today, originally the sleds were more for carrying things in the transportation or carrying food. How have the sleds changed over time?
Well, they're basically the same. When we race, we still have a required equipment that we must carry, maintaining the tradition of mushing. But now this sled is made out of aircraft aluminum.
Really?
So it's much lighter than some of the other sleds, much more durable. The materials that we make the sled bags out of sub as an Arctic refuge. If you were in a storm, they're very heavy material. They are wind block. You could survive inside your sled bag. We have brakes that are made out of snowmobile treads just for slowing down. We have brakes that stop you. We have a snow hook that's our parking brake.
So there's a lot of material
There's a lot of material, and it's all very light. This is aluminum, very light.
Okay, and I see that you have some moccasins, and are these beaver gloves? Is that what we have over here?
These are beaver mittens made by some girls up in Alaska.
Okay, I imagine it's pretty cold. How cold does it get that you
Well,
can take
we're
the dogs
training
out?
when it's -30 and below.
Wow.
Yes.
So what is this one here?
This is a wind jacket for a dog, and just like we need protection from the wind. When it's really windy out, they wear a wind jacket. It's a wind block.
Looks like
it
it
has a
fleece inside?
fleece lining, and they can wear it right over their harness.
Absolutely. Now you race your dogs. How do you prepare for a race?
We prepared starting August, the end of August this year.
Okay.
We may go out with a four-wheeler and just work 5 minutes, 10 minutes. This morning we worked for 25 miles.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're training, we work not only with a four-wheeler, but I carry a GPS. Some people were asking, how do you know what the dogs are doing? I know everything they're doing. I know how fast they've run. I know their average running speed. I know the distance that we're running, and all of it through the GPS.
Sounds pretty in-depth. We actually have home video of one of your races that we're going to go ahead and show. When you're out there racing, what does it feel like?
Oh, it's wonderful. It makes all of the training, just like any other athletic sport, worth it. You get caught up in the excitement and the adventure of it, and it's just wonderful to be out and see new country and new trails. The dogs are so excited because they're on something new.
Absolutely.
Training gets very boring. You know?
Pretty repetitive.
Very repetitive.
Now you mentioned a four-wheeler earlier. How do you train if there's no snow?
I have an all-terrain vehicle, and we put on it the lines that you see at the front of the sled, and the dogs hook up to that. When our training alternates between like wind sprints and then weightlifting. So when they're doing weightlifting, the all-terrain vehicle's probably in second gear, and they're just doing slugging and pulling and not liking it, but they go, you know, and
Absolutely.
we just build on time. And today was a wind sprint day, so we just work on speed.
Okay, well, it sounds like a lot of work. What types of relationships do you build with your dogs?
Very close.
Okay.
Very close. My lead dogs and I are very good friends. They trust me and they want to protect me, and
Absolutely. Well, I suppose that they work as a team as well. How do they interact with one another?
they generally very, very well. The dogs who are in the back of the team would like to have the same status as the dog's at the front of the team. Sometimes you rotate the leaders when I decide Q's going to lead, not Coyote, and that. Coyote will go out and say, you mean I'm not going to be in the first spot the first time? You know, they want to always be where they know they should be.
Yeah. Now, you've mentioned a couple different dogs. How many dogs do you have?
I just have 10 right now.
10 dogs. How do you feed them? How much food does it take to feed 10 dogs?
Oh, I buy it a ton at a time.
A ton at a time. That's a lot of dog food.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, can we expect to see you in the Iditarod?
Maybe one day. That would be fun.
Is that kind of the plan?
Well, it is. The logistics of it is a nightmare, being in North Dakota and having to get everything to Alaska and that. It's in our thought process.
Sure. Well, it sounds like the dogs do a lot of work, but get a lot of attention as well. How do you spoil the dogs?
Just touching them.
Touching them. Friendly animals?
They love to get touched. They love to get petted.
Absolutely. Well, she's done a great job today, and we're so glad that you were able to come on the show today.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're watching Studio One from the University of North Dakota. We'll be right back after this.
The UND College of Business and Public Administration is reaching out to rural America. The Government Rural Outreach Initiative is working to connect North Dakota veterans with important information. North Dakota veterans can use the internet to access employment and business resources, health and benefits they deserve, housing information, and much more. The Government Rural Outreach Initiative is funded in part by the North Dakota Congressional Delegation. North Dakota veterans and their families can get connected by visiting go.ndgrow.com.
Become a leader in healthcare with a graduate degree from the University of North Dakota. The Graduate School at UND offers degree programs and advanced practice certificate programs in the allied health professions and nursing. Our faculty give you the individual attention you need to help you attain your career goals. Distance programs for practicing professionals allow you to pursue graduate studies without interrupting your career. Contact the UND Graduate School today.
When you graduate from college, what will you be able to offer an employer?
Well, I love working with people.
I'm a people person.
I consider myself to be highly motivated.
I'm a real self-starter.
Offer an employer something more. At the University of North Dakota Career Services Center, we can help you get the competitive edge you need. Stop in or check us out, UND Career Services, empowering students to realize their dreams.
I can offer you much more than just good people skills.
You're hired.
This can happen.
Excuse me, can I get a ride?
What?
My car broke down. Can I get a ride?
No, I can't help you.
Look, it's just a ride.
No, step back.
Get in the car!
No!
Women can defend themselves. To learn more about Impact U or to enroll in a class, call the UND Women's Center.
Tune in next week on Studio One. When people think of a typical farm animal, cows may come to mind. We'll take you to a farm where they raise a different type of animal and they are creating local demand for the product. Plus, we'll have other news and entertainment stories for you.
Well, I don't know if you knew or not, Shannon, but my hometown of the Pas, Manitoba in Canada has the World Championship dog sled race.
World Championship. Well, maybe we'll see Nancy there.
That's right. I hope she goes there sometime.
Absolutely.
Well, we're going to leave you now with pictures of people enjoying a good polka, courtesy of photographer Patrick Wynn. From all of us here at Studio One, have a great week.